Welcome back. Coming from a new location again, it is the RomaPress podcast. Andy, the next tier is going to be on the Patreon, patreon.com/RomaPress. It's going to be funding, the next tier is to be so we can play music when there is the cause for celebration, because I felt like playing. The first song that came to mind was War is Over with John Lennon. Because my gosh, they did it. They did it. They did it. 265, or was it 256? Something like that. 260, or come on.
76, John. 276. April 2000.
76 days.
Yeah.
270. Initially, we say it as a joke, but truly, children have been born in between victories, league victories, league away victories of AS Roma.
Nothing. This is the first away victory. First away victory.
Humans have possibly been conceived and born in that time. People are on this earth that did not exist. The previous time, Roma won away. And naturally, they do it in Friuli. Listen, if there was ever a time they were going to get this done, it was going to be this one. It was going to be this one. And early on, they looked good. We had all of the hallmarks for the expected disappointment, because it doesn't quite qualify as the party, but naturally, I think you put out a story 2 to 3 hours before the match of Lorenzo Luca being eyed and pursued by Roma, which every single club in Serie A is doing, by the way, and Udinese are not going to let them go in January, so let's stop now. But of course, you put that article out, and naturally, he scores the opening goal in fashion that even by AS Roma standards is fairly far-fetched, and I didn't mean to use alliteration there. But you have some of the most horrific defending at the set piece, and then in the second half, you have Claudio Ranieri making some changes, and 2 quick penalties, and we've done it. So let's get into just everything, because the initial reaction that I have from this is, I thought even before the opening goal of Luca, I thought Roma played well. I thought they were effective. I thought they were playing with energy, lots of energy, which was not the case just a few days ago in the Netherlands when they were playing AZ Alkmaar. And I thought they were playing really good football. We had a surprise with Wrench getting the start. We saw some rotation, Baldanzi coming into the fray, which begs.
Can I just say that the Wrench? Can I just say that Wrench appearing right off the bat in the lineup reminded me of Ainsley Maitland-Niles, who made his debut against Juve right after his move, like a day before from Arsenal. That was crazy. But Wrench was surprisingly good. Just a nice, good old throwback to Maitland-Niles, who also comes in January and leads us to Conference League glory. So who knows if Wrench is not a sign of better things to come for Roma.
There are so many of those, by the way, of these January arrivals who are just thrown in. Angelino, the guy arrived, he plays right away. The one I am always reminded of that warms my heart, one Michel Bastos. I will never forget his goal against Sassuolo. And just in terms of random players to pass through AS Roma, he is among my favorite, because I loved his profile. That wide sort of, not exactly a fullback, not exactly a winger, but we're going to give him license essentially to run up and down the flank. One of my favorites, and he lasted a full 6 months. As far as Wrench goes, hopefully he does more than than some of the names we've already mentioned, and he is able to extend his stay beyond 6 months. Obviously, he's on a permanent deal, but we'll put that aside for now. But just as far as the approach early on, I thought the first half was good. I have to call out one of our patrons, Adam, who at the half-hour-ish mark, he was saying, "Oh, this is some of the most boring football I've ever seen. It's ineffective." And I couldn't have disagreed more. I thought Roma did well in the first half. I thought they were unlucky to not have a goal by then. I believe, yes, they ended the match with an XG of just around 3. This was a solid performance, and I don't want to hear, because I have the zone on in the background. If you can't hear it, I didn't turn the volume all the way down. So if you're subjected to horrific commentary, far worse than what you're hearing here in the background, it is courtesy of the zone Italia. And because right now they are complaining that Roma, they won this because of 2 penalties. So we go from Roma not winning away matches at all from, well, now that they've won, they won by 2 penalties, as if it should count less. I don't know where they're going with this. I'll have to rewind after we finish recording here. But Andy, this was a good performance, and it was going to happen this time. Yeah, I mean, if this streak was going to end, it started in Friuli and it ends in Friuli. And the second I saw what the weather report was going to be, your typical everyday January dreary, having to be around people whose surnames end in L and R. It was going to happen. All of the ingredients were there for the recipe for this streak to end, and it ended. And I'm still listening to the zone. They're complaining about the penalties. Both of them were clear cut. So, right? What are we doing here? Why we're complaining about both penalties, that they didn't score a goal from open play? This is fantastic.
The bar for Roma, the bar for Roma playing away from home was so low, so low that we'll take anything at this point. And quite frankly, yes, it was a nice change of pace compared to what we saw on Thursday. I made my concerns quite clear after the match against AZ Alkmaar. I said, Roma will always Roma. I think today is also an example of Roma being Roma, because why the hell not win your first away game in 276 days in the same stadium where you won the last time? Okay, that's Roma. That's what they do. They specialize in that. So was it fun to see this team first go down 1-0 to Udinese? Obviously not. But unlike what happened on Thursday, where they go down and sort of they lose their heads, today Roma, they tried everything, and in the good and the bad, in the sense that we saw so many formations out there. We saw Zalewski as a center back. We saw Eldor Shomurodov turn into prime Ruud van Nistelrooy. It was unbelievable,
That pass to El Shaarawy, man.
There has to be a study on Eldor Shomurodov. There has to be a study on Eldor Shomurodov, who turns into the GOAT when he is this close to leaving Roma. It's every time that he's in the subject of rumors, he becomes excellent for them. Today he was one of the bright lights in that second half. And so it's once again, it's sort of an amalgamation of everything. This win today was, first of all, it's a comeback win. So again, we do not take it for granted, regardless of its penalties. It's a comeback win for Roma.
They were clear cut, man. It's not as what are they talking
what
about?
Are we talking? No, it's part of. I know it's part of the sport. I just say that we people may minimize, but we came back. We came back from 1-0 away from home, mind you, and that's even more. So anyway you look at it, this is a positive result. This is a positive step. This is a positive moment in a season that was begging for this moment to come sooner. I mean, it's ridiculous to be sitting here. It's almost February and we got our first away win of the season. It's insane, but it had to happen.
Well, it did have to happen. And if you were unlucky enough to see the away form table prior to this match in the afternoon, you would have seen, Andy, that Roma, prior to this win against Udinese, for the away table in Serie A, Roma were 19th. 19th. Let's just take that in for a moment. If you are operating any heavy machinery, if you are holding a child, sit down and just take that in. 19. That's one less than 20, I'm told. I'm also told that is second from bottom. 19 is what they were in the league away form table prior to this win. It is, Andy, when you put the full range of
Was
figures
it
into
Venezia? I
context,
think only Venezia had it worse. No, only Venezia
yes,
were worse than Rome. Yeah.
yes. And by the way, you spoke of Shomurodov. It is only right that his punishment for bawling, coming off the bench recently and absolutely bawling out, it's only right that the deserved punishment is being banished to Veneto to play under Eusebio Di Francesco.
Eusebio. Yes. Okay.
The punishment fits the crime. Listen, 276 days alone, it's bad. You don't have to be very good at maths. You don't have to be the most in-depth or keen watcher of football to realize, woof, that's a long time. But the thing that you look back at too, and I felt after that first goal, I thought, oh, this is going to happen again. If we look back at some of these away matches, you speak of the comeback, and that's the thing that I think is actually most important in this. Look at some of the away matches that they have had, not only this season, but when the streak originally began in April of 2024. We're looking at games where the margins are, just razor thin, razor thin, and it does not take much. The difference between a draw or a defeat and not during a victory. I mean, we're talking of such fine margins here, and this is something that I think Ranieri has really brought, just in terms of character of this team and determination. And by the way, the thing I love, because you spoke of all of the different formations, I mean, we might as well just say it now. I like how Ranieri, just in terms of his tactics, anything and everything is on the table. And by the way, he will not wait to make a change. He is the anti Paulo Fonseca, who had no plan B, no alternative, who would refuse to make any non-like for like substitution. It's we are playing this formation, and but we're sticking to it. A defender for a defender, winger for a winger, striker for a striker. Very rarely did you see him deviate from his preferred, modus operandi and way of playing football. But man, with Ranieri, to call some of what we saw today a formation. I mean, Zalewski is a center back. At that point, we're not even really. It's not really even a formation at that point. It's Sunday league stuff essentially, and yet it worked. And that's where you have to give him a immense amount of credit, in my opinion, because you just do not see those tactical, the courageousness or the courage to change things so dramatically in match. You did not see that obviously from Ivan Juric. You didn't see it at all. Very little from De Rossi. But having a manager who prepares his team to the point where Zalewski, you could, Andy, he played in an attacking role. What? We spoke of that on a podcast 2 weeks ago when Ranieri put him in that striker role just behind Dovbek. And now he's playing central defender.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, there is a method to the madness. He clearly prepares the team to be ready for anything, and that is a credit to him. There also is a bit of interesting, I guess, backstory behind this, because I made the mistake again, speaking to Zoolander, who again is the agent, the nickname I call Pochetta,
Yeah.
Pochetta, the agent of Pellegrini, the R.I.P. Gregoire Defrel, wherever he plays now, and Zalewski. And he's going to go. He's going to go. He's very close. And yet we see Shomurodov, who is preparing his suitcase, of course, probably bringing some good walking shoes, because anytime you go to Venezia, you are bound to break an ankle or fall into the lagoons.
On the
or
cobblestone. On the cobblestone.
yeah, right. And yet these are guys Ranieri is relying on fairly consistently to come off the bench. So listen, the Tinkerman, he lives up to it.
I think. Listen, but I think what's funny is that he and especially today he threw things just to see if they stick against the wall. Like and in this case it works. We saw, for example, Juric. One of his main reasons for his downfall was that he sort of was so bound to his convictions that you would not have those moments of clarity where he goes, well, you know what, maybe Mats Hummels would help us in this situation.
I see Cristante better in that role right now.
Yeah, exactly. I see Cristante as a center back again in Brussels. Yeah, absolutely. And that was the main issue with Ranieri. There were moments where I think, even on Thursday, sometimes he overcomplicates things, or he for example, you think to yourself, well, Matias Soule could deserve a chance, and instead he's throwing Zalewski out there. But
yes,
that's in this moment that Roma were in. Actually, this variety of options of just throwing stuff out there on the pitch, trying out different things, trying out different formations. Hey, if that is what needs to happen to awaken the team, then so be it. And clearly that's what happened. The team was awakened. The team was prodded alive. We finally break this spell of not being able to win away from home, which is huge, because again, it's sort of, I don't think people realize how big of a dark cloud this was looming over this team, because you really, John, 276 days, you at some point you start believing in voodoo, in bad juju. You start believing in black magic. You start believing that there is some deity out there who is making it impossible for you to get the result you want, because every time you go out and you play away from your favorite stadium in the world, you get either humiliated or you get disappointed. I mean, we all remember that horrible match against Como, where Roma played with a sense of such false confidence, and then those final 10 minutes they lost everything. So and you could feel that this was really getting to the team. Even in Holland, again, everybody just hung their heads low. Oh my God, Jesus! There we go. Okay, there is the goal.
Here
right?
we go again.
It was so important to break this spell. I think Ranieri's tactics, if we talk about them, there's just very little that we can discern, because I really think that he does what a manager of his age would do, which is he puts his trust in the players. Now, he puts his trust in some fundamental elements within the team and a select few players that fulfill his needs. And then off the bench, he brings in just about anybody who will try and give him a chance to win. If he sees that someone's, if he sees Wrench, who came 3 days ago and maybe trained once or twice, and he sees him that he's in good spirits, he'll throw him out there, and in this situation, I think that's what Roma have to do. They haven't found a winning formula all season long. Perhaps there is no winning formula for this season. Maybe that's something we have to accept. But this is the closest thing you can do to getting that winning spark back, is to give everybody a shot. Try your hand. What do you have to lose? Tonight, Ranieri had nothing to lose. Tonight, you were playing away from home, and everybody was skeptical about you getting a result. So you throw out guys that you didn't know could be useful, and there you go. You got two. You overturned the result, and you win 2-1.
Speaking of our good friend Ivan Juric, without cheating, of course, how if you just had to discern a guess?
I think one draw and what, one draw and like 5 losses or something.
Yes. Something tells me you may have looked that up recently at some point, but let me.
I think every Roma website has been updated.
Well, I just if we want to speak of levels of depravity, this is right up there. That there was the instinct to appoint this guy, who, by the way, I was all in favor of. But after the display of this season under him, the display of now at Southampton, I have made it almost my personal mission to ensure he is never given another opportunity in Serie A for the rest of his life. I will make it my life's work. We'll call it RomaPress. There will be humiliating stats and other things to highlight how shit of a manager he is. But let's just do something very quickly and go down some of the last few matches. Of course, the neighbor's dog I have to pound on the floor. Here are his last 5 league matches. Goals conceded. Okay, hold on. Again, heavy machinery. If you're driving a construction vehicle or something, just park it. Just okay. Southampton, goals conceded last 5 league matches: 3-3, 3-5-2. Yep, sounds about right. That sounds about right. Did he have 1 or 2 wins at Roma? I just remember the Halloween penalty goal against Torino.
No, I think it was 2, right? It was Udinese and then Venezia.
Venezia. You're right.
And then Dinamo Kiev, and then Dinamo Kiev in the Europa League, and that was about it.
No, wait. So it was 3 league wins then. Udinese, Torino.
No. Wait. Three league wins, 1 Europa League win, and that's about it in 12 games.
Oof. Well, he's their problem now. So listen, we look at the table, and some of you absolute sickos, you freaks that are doing this thing, actually doing the maths on top 4 in the Patreon group chat. I just don't know how many times I have to say it. If you even have the instinct to do that, you have been hurt far too much to allow yourself to even travel down that path. So please stop. Don't do this to yourself. Andy, we look at the table. Okay. Roma, they were, prior to this, they were 10th, I believe. And with this victory, they now go to 9th. 30 points. Only 3 behind Fiorentina, who, by the way, were flying early in the season. And as we remember, speaking of Ivan Juric, did they score an American football touchdown, or it was 5 or 6? I think it was 5-0 against Roma.
It was 5-1. 5-1.
Oh, 5-1. Who scored the? Oh,
yeah. Right.
How could I forget? Yes.
It was 2-1. Remember, it was 2-1, and then they go on an unbelievable run, and they completely destroyed us right then and there.
Roma are 7 points behind Juventus, who have lost once. Now, I understand that they have drawn every single match, it seems like. They are probably 0-19-1 at this point. But, I mean, for the sickos who are having this instinct to do the maths, 9 points, well, Lazio have yet to play in this round. They currently occupy 4th in Serie A with 39 points. So if they were to win, who do they play? They have Fiorentina tonight at the Olimpico, so they have the big match. So if they win, they go to 42. Now, again, if they lose, they stay on 39, but they would still maintain 4th in the table. So that would be just 3 3 matches, 9 points. We're not doing this, right? Because people have asked us to give us realistic
No, we're not. Yeah,
odds.
we're not doing this.
We just won our first. Roma just won their first away match in almost a full calendar year, and you want us to discuss top 4?
It's
Come on,
yeah, it's like that.
come on.
It works like that. People. That's what makes Roma this terrifying trap for people. They fill us with momentary hope, just to dash our long term expectations. It's like that. I think we have to focus on this game by game basis, because really you are going up against several teams, as you mentioned, John, that are not doing that well. We
No,
have been
no.
disastrous this season, but I would really be amiss if I didn't mention that, except for Napoli, Inter, perhaps Atalanta, everybody else is doing
Everybody
so
did
much
crap.
better. Because I really
Yes.
think that maybe, okay, Lazio had a good thing going, just like Fiorentina had a good thing going. But over the course of the season takes its toll. The campaign
Mm,
takes its toll. So we are seeing now Roma maybe find their groove while others are taking a slip. Thiago Motta's Juventus is a very bizarre team.
yes.
They're very unpredictable, just like Milan. Milan today, they were this close to losing against Parma
Yes.
with
They should have lost. Yes.
they should have lost, with Calabria going face to face with Coinsao at the end of the match. So there's clearly tension also there. So really, you'd be hard pressed to find, except for the top 3 teams in the league, anyone else who's having a good time this season. This season has been nauseating, I think, for most fan bases in Italy. And when we look at the Europa League, when we look at what's next for us
Yeah.
in the Europa League,
Just get this out of the way so we can end this and
I want to I
end
want
this
to just briefly
discussion.
I want to just briefly say it on my part, that I go into this with no expectations. It's like that. It's like that joke that I reference so many times with Robin Williams, who went up the stage of like, I think it was like an award ceremony, and there were three nominees. It was Daniel Day-Lewis, Jack Nicholson, and Robin Williams, and it was a tie between Jack Nicholson and Daniel Day-Lewis, but they didn't know how to make a speech, so they invited Robin Williams, the loser of the 3, to come up on the stage. And Robin Williams said, "It's been a Buddhist evening for me. I came here with no expectations, and I leave with nothing." And that's, I mean, I that's my take on Roma's Europa League run. Okay, there is just no expectations. I don't believe in miracles when it comes to this team. I don't believe in the stars aligning magically for them to go through. Roma have dug their hole, okay, and
Yeah.
even on Thursday they dug their hole just that little deeper. So that's my analysis on this topic.
Eintracht, they're second in the table with 16 points. Roma, they are holding in the final playoff spots. They are among the last. They're among the last of 4 with 9 points. Porto, Braga, others just behind with 8 and 7 points. So we're not going to sit here and actually pretend we're going to be devastated. Oh, like you and I are not going to come on here Thursday if they lose and they are subsequently eliminated from Europa League play. Thursday may be among the most
I will
boring
not be
podcasts.
losing anything, John. I will be completely fine. Trust me.
In fact, I may sleep even better knowing that they have prevented themselves
That they preserve their energy.
matches. Yes.
That they're
Playing.
preserving their energy, that they're not fooling us, that they're not, pulling us into some sort of weird fantasy where we start to imagine how would Mats Hummels look if he were to lift the Europa League trophy over his head. No, it's not happening. Let's be real here.
Yeah, right now they would go against Olympiacos. Come on. Just a few more spots away. Bodo Glimt. No. We've been through too much this season to even start delving into those levels of depravity. We've already been subjected to enough. At this point, Andy, less is more. I don't.
Absolutely.
This team doesn't need 2 more matches on its
No,
calendar.
this team has already shown who they are. I do not believe that they have more surprises in them. I think we get a pretty good idea of what this team is all about. We don't need more humiliations. We don't need more hurt along the way. So no expectations. Again,
No.
a nice Buddhist attitude professed by Robin Williams.
Yeah, yes, the resources have already been stretched thin. Let's not make a drama or a tragedy of it if Thursday does not go our way, but that is when we will be back. Thank you as always for listening. We appreciate your support. Until next time, everyone. Ciao.
Ciao.